I am 89 years old. I cook everything in lard. I have never once counted a calorie, never owned a treadmill, never taken a prescription pill in 37 years. And every single nutritionist in America would look at how I eat and tell you I should be dead. I am not dead. I am on camera. My blood pressure is 118/72. My last cholesterol test, 192. My doctor shook his head and said, I don't understand it. I told him, you don't have to. I do. So before you scroll away, give me 10 minutes. My name is Mary Elaine Caldwell. I was born in 1936 in a farmhouse in Harlan County, Kentucky, 7th of 9 children. My daddy worked the coal mine 6 days a week. My mother worked the house, the garden, and the animals every single day without complaint and without applause. We didn't have a grocery store within 20 miles. You ate what came out of the ground or off the animal, or you went to bed hungry. There was no diet book on the shelf, no nutrition label on the wall, no doctor telling my mother what to put in her skillet. She put in what she had, what grew, what lived on that land, and she cooked it in lard. The same lard her mother used, the same lard her grandmother used. I want you to understand something before I go any further. My mother lived to 91. Her mother lived to 88. Not in a nursing home, not in a memory care facility, not hooked to machines. At home, in their kitchens, cooking their food, living their lives until nearly the very end. I watched those women. I learned from those women. And then in 1977, the United States government showed up on every television set in America and told us we had all been doing it wrong. Stop the lard. Stop the butter. Stop the animal fat. Switch to vegetable oil, switch to margarine, switch to low-fat everything. They had charts, they had scientists, they had very serious men in very serious suits telling us that the food our grandmothers built their lives on was gonna kill us all. Most of my neighbors listened. They threw out their lard, bought bottles of Crisco, started frying everything in corn oil and soybean oil and things that didn't even exist as food 20 years before. They felt virtuous. They felt modern. They felt like they were finally doing it right. And then everybody got fat. Diabetes exploded across this country like nothing I had ever seen. Heart disease did not go away, it got worse. Children started getting sick with things children were never supposed to get. And did anyone stand up and say we were wrong? No. They sold us a new diet. I did not throw out my lard in 1977. I went home, opened my ceramic crock by the stove, the same one my mother gave me when James and I got married, and I fried my eggs in it the same way I always had. And I have been doing that every single morning. Now let me tell you exactly what I eat, because that is why you are still watching. No program, no product, no link in the description to buy anything, just the plain truth about what goes into my body every day at 89 years old. Every morning I wake up before the sun and I eat eggs. My own eggs from my own chickens. 2, sometimes 3. Whole eggs, yolk and all. Not egg whites, not some powder from a plastic tub, not a carton of something that used to be an egg before a factory got a hold of it. The whole egg, the way God made it. For decades they told me the yolk would kill me, cholesterol, they said. Heart disease, they said. I had a doctor in 1974, Dr. Raymond Holt, very educated man, very confident, who sat me down and told me I needed to stop eating whole eggs immediately. Mary, he said, you are putting yourself at serious risk. I said, Dr. Holt, my mother has eaten 2 eggs every morning of her adult life, and she is 74 years old, and just last week she was on her hands and knees pulling weeds out of her garden. Show me the woman who stopped eating eggs and got healthier. I will wait right here. He did not have one. He changed the subject. Dr. Holt died at 77, heart attack. I am 89, still eating my eggs. Now here is what they don't want to tell you about an egg. Everything a baby chick needs to grow from nothing into a full living bird is inside that shell. Every protein, every fat, every vitamin, every mineral. It is one of the most complete foods on the face of this earth, and they spent 40 years telling us to throw out the best part of it. The yolk has choline, which your brain runs on. The yolk has vitamin D, which most Americans are dangerously low in. The yolk has B12, which keeps your mind sharp and your blood strong. And yes, the yolk has cholesterol, because your body needs cholesterol. Your brain is made of fat and cholesterol. Every single hormone your body produces requires cholesterol to build it. Every cell wall in your entire body is held together partly by cholesterol. When they told us to lower it at all costs, they were telling us to interfere with something fundamental to how a human body works. I watched friends go on those cholesterol medications. I watched their memory start to slip. I watched their muscles weaken and their energy drain away. Their doctors called it normal aging. It was not normal aging. It was a body being deprived of something it needed. I fried my eggs every morning in lard, and I never touched those pills. Now let me tell you about the lard. The cast iron skillet I cook in belonged to my mother. Before that, it belonged to her mother. It is seasoned with decades of cooking, and I wouldn't trade it for anything in any kitchen show on television. I keep my lard in a ceramic crock on the counter, not in the refrigerator, not in a sealed container with an expiration date, on the counter, the way it has always been kept. Lard is rendered pork fat. That's all it is. It has been used by human beings for thousands of years across every continent on this earth. It is stable at high heat, which means it doesn't break down and oxidize when you cook with it the way vegetable oils do. When you heat corn oil or soybean oil or canola oil to cooking temperature, it oxidizes. It produces compounds that your body doesn't know how to process because your body has never encountered them before in all of human history. We invented those oils in the 20th century. Lard has been around since people first kept pigs. Your grandmother's body knew what to do with lard. It does not know what to do with a bottle of something made in a factory from seeds that had to be chemically processed just to become liquid. After the eggs, I eat whatever came fresh that morning from the garden or whatever I put up from the season before. In summer, that's tomatoes, green beans, cucumbers, whatever's ready. In winter, that's what I canned: corn, beans, beets, kraut. Simple food. Food I grew or food I know the source of. My neighbor Frances brings me milk every Tuesday from her farm down the road. Whole milk, full fat, from a cow I know by name. Not pasteurized, not homogenized, not processed and bottled in a facility and shipped 400 miles. Raw milk, the way milk was for all of human history until about 80 years ago. They'll tell you raw milk is dangerous. I've been drinking it my entire life. My mother drank it her entire life. I am still here. For lunch, I eat beans. Pinto beans most days, cooked low and slow since morning with a ham hock and salt, and cornbread, made with lard in the cast iron. Not sweet cornbread, not the kind from a box. Cornmeal, lard, buttermilk, salt, and egg. That is cornbread. It has kept Appalachian families alive and working and strong for generations. They told me beans were fine, but the cornbread had too much fat and too many carbs. I kept eating my cornbread. They kept updating their guidelines.
For dinner, I eat whatever I cook that day. Usually some kind of meat, chicken, pork, beef. Cook simply. Season with salt and whatever herb I have growing. No sauces from a jar. No seasoning packets with 34 ingredients. Salt, heat, time. That is cooking. Now I want to tell you something that took me a long time to understand. The food is important, but it is not the whole story. I've seen people eat clean, careful, perfect diets and still get sick young. And I have watched people eat simple, honest food and live long, full lives. The difference is not always what is on the plate. I have a neighbor, man named Gerald. Gerald was meticulous. Ate salads, took his vitamins, walked every morning, went to his doctor twice a year, did everything they told him. Dead at 68. You know what Gerald carried for 30 years? A grudge against his brother over $300 in a fence line their daddy left him. Never spoke to him, never forgave him. Carried that weight every single morning when he woke up and every single night when he closed his eyes. I've seen people eat perfect salads every day and still die angry at 68 because they never forgave their brother over $300 and a fence line. That poison is stronger than any trans fat. That kind of weight will kill you as sure as anything you put in your mouth. I am not a doctor and I am not a scientist, but I have lived 89 years and I have watched people carefully, and I will tell you what I believe with everything in me. Bitterness is a poison, and no amount of good food will neutralize it. I lost my husband James after 68 years together. I lost my son Daniel at 44 years old in a car accident on a wet road in November. I know grief, real grief, the kind that sits on your chest at 3 in the morning and makes breathing feel optional. And I am still here, not because I am strong, not because I am special, because I had things that still needed me. A garden that would go to weeds without me, grandchildren who needed someone to sit with, a neighbor down the road who couldn't drive anymore and needed a ride to church. Purpose kept me alive through things that should have broken me. If you are still watching right now, pause for just a second. Think of one person you have been holding bitterness toward, just one. You don't have to forgive them today, but decide you are going to start, because that decision might add more years to your life than anything you will ever eat. Purpose and real food and real rest and real people, that is the whole prescription. There is no supplement for it. There is no protocol. There is no morning routine you can buy. I go to bed when it gets dark, and I wake up when the sun rises. I work in my garden every morning. I cook real food in a real skillet that belonged to my mother. I eat with people I love when I can. I forgive people, not because they always deserve it, but because I deserve peace. And I do not spend my days in waiting rooms. I spend them here, in this house, with this garden, with these people. I am 89 years old. My mind is clear. My hands still work. I still pull my own weeds. Every doctor who told me I was eating wrong is gone. I am still here. If this made you think twice about what you eat or who you are still angry at, I want you to leave one word in the comments. Just one word. Lard. That is all. Just type it so I know you heard me. And if you have your own story, a doctor who was wrong, a habit you learned from your grandparents that you stopped doing and wish you hadn't, share it below. I read every single comment. Subscribe if you want more plain truth from someone who has already lived long enough to see what actually works. Thank you for listening. Now go home, fry something in real fat, and call your mama. My name is Mary Elaine Caldwell. I am 89 years old, and I am still here.